SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran tells us how we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what to aspire to from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When He said, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. So Islam, the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not just the guidance to a final place after we die, where there is the Jannah and the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here now to live the best, highest quality, fulfilling, satisfying, joyful life on our way, inshallah, to that Jannah. So not only that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the final destination, but also gave us how the directions and the guidance, how to fill our heart with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the iman of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to live our life in the best way possible, and how to get to Jannah. But also the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not in the form of goals and then it's up to you how to fulfill it. It's not, just we want love, we want peace, we want brotherhood, and so on and so forth. But Prophet Muhammad specifically, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their guidance showed us what is the utmost form of a believer, what is the utmost form of a Muslim. So not only that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the end result of what you should be like, so you can be the best human being that you can possibly be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Anfal tell us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اسْتَجِيبُوا لِلَّهِ وَلِلرَّسُولِ إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ لِمَا يُحْيِيكُمْ. Islam is a form of renaissance. Islam is to empower you, to make you the best human being that you could possibly be, on your way of the eternal life where pleasure and whatever that you could possibly desire or not desire is available just for the wishing. So we need sometimes to go to these definitions. Maybe we don't fit that criteria, but it should be the end result. It should be what we focus upon. Why is that so significant? And sometimes it's more significant than the steps themselves that we get toward Jannah. Because we were created for one thing and one thing only. That is, to be tested, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could see who done and achieved more and better righteous deeds amongst themselves. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. He who created life and death to test you, who would do a righteous deed. How would I possibly have that righteous deed done without someone doing it? Who's to do the righteous deed? It's you. And that righteous deed cannot be righteous unless it's done purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who has the intention in his heart that if it is fulfilled, then that righteous deed will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is your heart, it is you. So we need to look at two things. The major definitions of a Muslim and a believer by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and pay attention. And most importantly, there's a common thread of most of the definitions of who a Muslim is and what a believer is in the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu fi Sahih Muslim, the definition of a Muslim. Who is a Muslim? Who you should be? Al-Muslimu man salima an-nasu min lisanihi wa yadihi. A Muslim is the person whom people are safe from his hand and his tongue. So if people are safe from the words that I say, from the actions and the deeds that I do with my hand, then I fit the criteria of what a Muslim should be like. And I might fit into that. That is the overall general description of a Muslim. But then we come to a better definition. The definition of a believer. Who a believer is. And subhanAllah, you don't hear that hadith even though it's so significant, mentioned so many times in our Islamic teachings. The straight definition of a mu'min. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said في حديث سهل بن سعد الساعدي المؤمن مألفة ولا خير في من لا يألف ولا يؤلف. A believer is loving. And there's no goodness, no righteousness in anyone who cannot love and cannot be loved. Is this a new concept? SubhanAllah, we go to the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith Abu Hurairah, also, marfu'an. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam talking to his companions, تَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا. You're not going to get into Jannah unless you are believers. That goes without saying, SubhanAllah. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى. And now the license by which you receive that right to get into Jannah, وَلَن تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَحَابُوا. Till you love each other. That's it. You're not loving each other. You're not wishing well for each other. You don't love for your brother what you love for yourself, even by the wishing without doing anything. The license of Iman is stripped away from you. Now, is this just a banner? Love, 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 and there's no way to do it? Look at what Prophet Muhammad said. أَلَا أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ إِنْ فَعَلْتُمُوهُ تَحَبَّبْتُمْ. Should I tell you about that one thing that if you do, you would earn the license of Iman, of which you'd be loving each other? Everyone said, Bala ya Rasulullah. He said, Ifshu salama bainakum. Spread peace amongst yourselves. So in any situation that I'm in with any Muslim brother, non-Muslim, even animals, I think and focus on what should I do? What can I do to keep peace and even increase peace and love between me and that human being or that creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Love and peace spreading. The entire Islamic law is about the protection and the insurance of love and peace spreading between people. We go to the third hadith, which clearly would show us that common thread between all the three hadiths that we talked about. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked the companions a beautiful question, which no one in his right mind can answer by anything other than, please let me know how can I do that. أَلَا أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى مَنْ تَحْرُمُ عَلَيْهِ النَّارُ غَدًا. Should I tell you about which person of this specific feature that if he had it, if he fulfilled it, hellfire is forbidden from touching him. When hellfire is forbidden from touching you, what happens? You go into Jannah. Ala. Now here the description of a Muslim that hellfire by the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guarantee of His Prophet would not touch him. Ala kulli hayyin layyin qareebin sahl. 4 features. What are the features? Of course, I want to be these 4 because if I have these 4, it's like I have a guarantee that inshallah I'll be in Jannah. If I say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. What does hayyin mean? Hayyin is to be humble. To bring yourself down to deal with people. And when you humble yourself, you're not humbling yourself for the sake of people, but for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the benefit of people. No matter what person, I'm better than him, I'm bigger than him, I'm stronger, richer than him, I'm always down to earth to speak and deal with people as if I am one of them. I'm not better than them. Whatsoever. The opposite of that is one who has arrogance, one who's stubborn, one who's showing off in a rude, crude kind of way. That is not a hayyin person. What is the second feature? Second feature is layyin. Layyin is the adjective of the Arabic word lean. And it's the same word that the English word of the same exact meaning is driven from. Lean is the word where lenient is driven from. And it's exactly the same meaning of layyin. What is lenient? I'm flexible. There's always room of capacity to have disagreement with people. I can deal with people. People think that they always can come to me, and no matter what the difference is in buying and selling and pushing and pulling, there's flexibility. It's not being confrontational and stubborn with people. When Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described himself, he said, "Inna Allah lam yab'athani mu'anitan wala muta'annita." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not send me to be stubborn or confrontational. وَإِنَّمَا بَعَثَنِي مُعَلِّمًا مُيَسِّرًا. But He sent me only to be a facilitating teacher. Was Prophet ﷺ here to just give us a bunch of information? No. It is the wisdom of how we deal with each other, how we deal with ourselves, that is always asking us to go against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the flexibility of a believer that hellfire will not touch. What is the third feature? Qareeb. لَكُلِّ قَرِيبٍ. What does qareeb mean? Probably to define qareeb is by its opposite. The opposite of qareeb is extreme, is far. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as a nation of moderation and a nation of the middle. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Wasat means, is it a geographical or a central location? So I'm in the center of everything? No. Our position is always a position of moderation. It's not a position of ifrat, extremism, and excessiveness, or tafreed, negligence, or laxity. It's in the middle, a moderate situation. People can always find a common ground between me and them. And subhanAllah, the path of the middle is always the better path. It's the path of balance. What is the third one? And probably it summarizes the first three. Sahl. To be easy. Easy to buy from, to sell from, to argue with, to work with, to depart from. Easy with everything. As for Muhammad مُعَلِّمًا مُيَسَّرًا. You facilitate people things. It's easy for you to do anything with anyone. And subhanAllah, these features, I am almost sure that every one of us has such a person in his family or his work. You know, that one relative or that friend or that co-worker that we know. You know what? When we turn our backs, he's not going to be backbite us. If we go and ask him for something, you know what? He's not going to be rude and reject us. He most likely will help us out. You know, if there's something good that for me and I'm not aware of him, he will come and help me out with it. That person fits the definition of a movement that hellfire would not touch. Is it so difficult to gather these four features? Yes and no. Depends on what? Very simple thing. What is your focus? Is your focus this dunya and the materialistic things, like Prophet Muhammad had warned us? Or your focus is, everything is about, what would I, if I'm doing this, and this is the last thing that I'm going to do, and I will stand with that deed before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Would I want to do it? Or I will be ashamed of doing it before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before my community? Is your focus al-akhirah or the dunya? If you focus on al-akhirah, and it's a matter of money, it's a matter of ego, it's a matter of position, or self-interest, or whatever it is, I would focus on keeping the peace between me and the brother, wishing the brother well like I wish for myself, so I'll be just with the brother, and I'll keep that love and peace between me and him. If it is the dunya, if it is money, if it is what I can gain and have for myself, then it will become a very difficult thing. SubhanAllah, before we speak about the tools that would allow us so easily, inshallah, to gain all these features and these definitions of a Muslim and a believer. Here's the question. What is the common thread of all these definitions? Anyone?
What's the question again?
The common thread. What is the common factor between all these definitions of a Muslim? What is the one thing that is constant and is the same throughout all these definitions of a mu'min and a Muslim? The common thread is that they're all about dealing with other people. I'm humble with what? With myself? Or with other people? I'm lenient with whom? With other people. Even the definition of a Muslim whom people are safe from his hand and his tongue. A believer is defined by how much he can love people and be loved by people, and his belief itself, him himself as a believer, is loving. He's a block of loving. And that's why the very famous concept in Islamic theology that a lot of people mistake it as a hadith. It's not a hadith. It's not a quotation of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, but it is a true over a meaning in Islamic theology. Ad-Dinu al-Mu'amala. Religion is how we treat each other. The concept is correct. but it's not a hadith that Prophet Muhammad said. So if you want to have a clear pathway to Jannah, if you want to avoid hellfire, after truly believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the concept about Tawheed, the monotheism of Islam is correct in your heart, the easiest way is through the brothers and the sisters around you. It's through your family, your co-workers, the people that you deal with. How much you're humble, how much you're lenient, how much you're moderate, how much you're easy and flexible in dealing with everyone. How much that you care that no one will get any harm from you, whether with your tongue or with your hand or even by a look or by a gesture. That is the way and the easiest way for that matter to Jannah. Now what is the tool? After fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if you don't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, it is a monumental task. But if you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dealing with people, it is easy. But what is a tool? Another correct hadith that was corrected by Sheikh Nasruddin al-Albani. Beautiful hadith. If you understand it, subhanallah, it's so easy. Our life now, not only in America but anywhere else, our modern materialistic life, we are taught, whether directly or subtly or indirectly, that the more you gain, the more you accumulate, the more you take, the more always is better. This hadith is totally the opposite. But it is better because it is opposite, because it is concerning what happens in the day of judgment, not to focus on this dunya. What is the hadith? مَنْ تَرَكَ شَيْئًا لِلَّهِ عَوَّضَهُ خَيْرًا مِنْهُ. Whoever abandoned, dropped, let go, abstained from something purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever that he left, will compensate him better than what he left for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an equation, it's a reciprocation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you with his generosity. You will give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your limited abilities. What does that mean? I'm buying something for you. I think it's worth 90. You think it's worth 100. And we are debating back and forth. You believe it's 100, I believe it's a 90. And now it's getting heated, it's getting confrontational. You know what? What is it? It's money that I'm leaving behind when I'm going to be wrapped in that coffin, and I'm going to leave this colored piece of paper in the bank where other people are going to benefit from? No. Now in my life, I want to leave it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, brother, you think it's worth 100? I'll give $10 extra, and just to keep the peace between us. I left that $10 for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep the love and peace between me and the brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will compensate me way more. You're arguing with me, and I believe you're absolutely wrong, and I'm absolutely right. And I believe I'm speaking from the truth, and it's getting heated. And subhanAllah, when you get into these discussions and anger starts to rise up, shaitan would get in and use that anger, subhanAllah, to say the wrong word, or make the wrong gesture, or say, subhanAllah, do something really unfit for your character, and subhanAllah, you destroy the relationship between you and the brother, and a word, as per the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, can put one into hellfire. I say, you know what, brother, I believe that this is not correct, but for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to drop the conversation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and forgive us all. And walk away. You drop the ego and your knowledge, and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, walked away. By that, when you have that concept in your mind, how can I keep peace? How can I keep love between me and the brother? How can I satisfy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can I leave something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala versus keeping that thing on the expense of my relationship with other people? And we learn that our definition as a Muslim and as a believer depend on how we practically prove our manners and believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and feel free in dealing with everyone around us. Then all of a sudden, wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open pathways for you and open doors for you and make things so easy for you that you cannot begin to understand. Hadith Abu Hurairah about some of the Muslims that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like. Allah yuhibbu samih al-bayt, samih al-shira'i, samih al-qada'. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the people when they buy. It's an easy buy. They won't haggle, and they want to, some people want to kill you for the last penny no matter what it is, and they would fight, whether they're buying or selling. And Surah Al-Mutaffifin speaks about that. Mutaffifin, when they إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كلوهم أو وزنوهم subhanallah يكسرون. What happened? Little things. Tafif means very little. And these people, when they buy, they want to get the lowest price from you. And when they sell, they want to charge you the highest price. And they won't let go. And the surah starts with Waylun. Wayl is a valley in hellfire. Why? It's a little thing. But it goes directly and opposite to the meaning of spreading love and peace between you and the brother. It's not about the one who, steals $100,000. Or the one who is supposed to be working but he's not working. It's about the one who comes to work 5 minutes late and leaves 5 minutes early. It's the one that makes, want to take this, 1 ounce extra when he buys and sells. That is the problem, because that means that he does not care and does not wish well for other people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts with Waylun. It's hellfire first before we say anything in the surah. Because they don't care about the brothers and sisters in doing that. So if I train myself, that I would leave things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I would always be a person who seeks peace and seeks love, and no harm is coming from him. Wallahi, the easiest way into paradise. Is this peaceful or not? Would this bring me love or not? Would this help my situation with the brother or not? And subhanAllah, when you look at Islam and how it spread, 6 of the 10 that are promised Jannah by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the great companions of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, accepted Islam because of the manners of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. They loved him so much, the way he dealt with them and how just he dealt with them, that when he said, I'm a Muslim, I believe in this. They said, you know what, if this man with this manners accept Islam, then we're Muslims. And that was way before probably 99% of the Quran or the Hadith or the miracles of Prophet Muhammad appeared to everyone. And subhanAllah, no wonder when Prophet Muhammad was talking about why was he sent, he said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لُأُتَمِّنَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was only sent. He didn't say that I was sent to do this because I could be sent to do this and 10 other things. But in the Arabic language, when you say إِنَّمَا, it's this one thing. One thing only. What is it? To complete the most noble of manners. What is manners? Is how you practically, in dealing with everyone around you, prove your love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you believe in Him and you fear of Him. Another definition of Iman by an Imam Al-Hasan Al-Basri, and it's not a hadith, it's an athar. So it's a qawl mawquf. موقوفا الإيمان ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل. Iman is what settled in the heart, truly is found in the heart, but was certified by the action you take in dealing with everyone around you. Another thing, now we said one thing that would help us, inshallah, be that person that fits the definition of Prophet Muhammad. Another thing that a lot of people do, and it destroys, it makes it so difficult when we're dealing with people. It is the sins of other people. It is the mistakes of other people. Shaitan comes to certain people, and subhanAllah, their affliction is to follow the flaws of other people. And because that person is sinning, or said this wrong thing, or did this thing that is hated or haram, then subhanAllah, it's war between us and them, and we're tracking their flaws and talking about it, backbiting them, and subhanAllah, they destroy mountains of their good deeds because of that. Look at the wisdom of Prophet Muhammad in dealing with the flaws of other people. So if we avoid that, what is left is for us, inshallah, only to help, only to be courteous, and to give that love and peace. Man by the name of Abdullah, one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad. The man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala afflicted him with the addiction of wine and liquors. He knows it's haram, but he cannot stop it. It's a matter of addiction. So sometimes they catch him publicly drinking, so they bring him to Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad would punish him as in the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they let him go. After a while, he's getting caught by other people, and then he's brought to Prophet Muhammad and he punished him. Happened several times to the limit that the last time that he was being punished, Prophet Muhammad listened to one of the companions, says, saying, لَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ مَا أَكْثَرَ مَا يُؤْتَى. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse him. Look at how often that man is brought for punishment. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, listen. One of the manners of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. When you make a mistake, he would not embarrass you. Sometimes he would not talk to you directly. What would he do? Is that he would speak generally to everyone. So he does not embarrass you. He would advise you about the mistake that you made and then also educate and teach people. He said, لَا تَلْعَنُوا أَخَاكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ يُحِبُّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Do not curse your brother, for he does love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. Meaning what? We are created and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that we will sin. كُلَّ ابْنَ آدَمَ خَطَّاء وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. Every single one of son of Adam will commit sins. And the best of the sinners are those who repent. So the fact that I sinned, that does not mean that I'm denied my deen, I'm denied my iman, I'm not going to Jannah. It just, I happen to do that sin. So Prophet Muhammad said, do not curse him because he believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala but has this disease, has this affliction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another hadith, look at those of Prophet Muhammad commenting on the same incident. لا تكونوا عونا للشيطان على أخيكم. Do not aid the shaitan in, subhanAllah, committing the sins against your brother. What does that mean? To me, as one who cares about the features of hayyin, layyin, qareeb, sah, loving and accepting love and not harming anyone, when I see someone sinning, all I care about, this brother or sister has a problem. How can I help? And one of the most beautiful hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-mu'minu mir'atu akhihi al-mu'min. A mu'min is the mirror of his believing brother. Beautiful hadith. Why? Look at your function with the mirror. A mirror is a very private thing. It's something for your eyes only. You have it in your room. You look for your flaws in it, but you don't look for your flaws in it to maximize it, to scandalize it, or to tell everyone about it. Just to fix it. So if something wrong with my attire or my hair or the way I look, I fix it. And the picture of myself when I had this flaw does not stick to the mirror. As soon as it's fixed, it's gone, it's forgotten, it does not exist anymore. And the mirror is not connected to Facebook and Twitter and the entire internet. It's for your eyes only. A believer is the same thing. I am a true believer and I see my brother has something wrong. Quietly and nicely and subtly and as silent as a mirror. I go to my brother and I ask for his forgiveness first. Would you please forgive me? I noticed something. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Would you accept my advice? I know advice is heavy. Will you take it from me? That's the way I do it. What is it? I think you did this and maybe you don't know, but this is haram because Prophet Muhammad said this and I just want to bring it to your attention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and forgive you. And walk away. Never mention it again. Not to anyone, but even yourself. Then I help my brother be aware that that sin is being seen. That is actually a sin if he didn't know about it. To help himself to become a better Muslim. And that's the function of a mirror. Look at the ingenious way of Prophet Muhammad describing that. But if we look at people as competitors, not people that we should wish him well, or love him, or have peace between us, or help him out. And then as soon as they have a problem, then, oh, my competitor, lost one, then let me scandalize him, let me just finish him up, and so on and so forth. SubhanAllah, that is not a believer. That is not the manner of Islam or Muslims. The more, SubhanAllah, we focus on this, and try to gain the fruits of our iman through the dealing with everyone around us, the easiest way to load up the scale of your good deeds with good deeds, and the closer you can get to paradise.